Howdy, everybody.
To another exciting installment of Twisted and Mysterious.
Very exciting.
We're always so enthusiastic.
We're just tired, I think. We do this after a long day of working, and I think we're just tired of not only working, but dealing with children.
Yep. That'll do it.
Plus, we're really boring people. We don't have anything exciting going on in our lives.
That's true.
I had some kids sneak out of class. Well, not sneak out of class, but say they were going to the office and then actually leave campus and go buy burritos.
And they didn't even bring you one.
They didn't even bring me one!
And it was the same kid that I was like, hey, I want a burrito. And he was all, I'll go get you one. Did he bring me one?
Yeah.
No, he did not.
No.
Yeah. Monsters. The whole lot of them.
They're terrible people.
Yep. At least I know that when the one kid says, I'll go get you a milkshake, he comes back with a milkshake.
Yeah.
To be fair, he wasn't at school that day, so it was okay. He didn't, leave campus and in the middle of class. So, there was that. Alright. Well, did you hear that the verdict was back for Lori Vallow?
No, I just haven't really been on the internet lately, so I haven't heard much about the Lori Vallow case, at least the new Lori Vallow case.
Yeah, so she was found guilty of conspiring to commit first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I literally just watched a clip of this on TikTok a second ago. So the judge has the jury polled, and I always, it's part of me feels a little sorry for them. Not the jury, but, the defendant whenever they poll the jury, because then they're just sitting there listening to, 12 different people say guilty. But, you don't feel sorry for them because they're bad guys.
And
but,
she's the worst kind of
bad
bad
guy.
But it's,
I just, imagine, sitting there and hearing 12 different people tell you how guilty you are.
No way. She deserves that.
I mean, she does deserve it. I agree with that. It's just, it seems like a horrible thing to happen. So, anyway, so the judge sends the jury out, and then, I don't know, I don't understand law as much, but I guess there had to be some further, proving or whatever after the fact of, the aggravating circumstances, did it cause the family, undue, emotional hardship or financial hardship, or, was there a, co-conspirator involved, and what was the other one? I guess, was it a dangerous offense, and so if she didn't agree to all of those things, and the jury was going to have to come back in, and then they were going to have to, prove more facts, so that they could agree to those things. But she just, agreed to it.
Yeah.
She was just yep, to all of it.
Well,
which is, I mean, yes, but it was so weird that she went through, this whole process being how dare you accuse me of this and not remember my enchiladas? And then she was just yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did it. But, the thing to me is, if she hadn't killed Charles Vallow, there's a good chance that her kids wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't actually related to the little boy. He was.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
And it was his sister's kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was raising him.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it just led to more and more terrible things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If she hadn't killed or conspired to kill Charles Vallow, that's his name, right?
I don't know.
Her husband?
Yeah, that guy.
That guy?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that the kids would still be alive.
Perhaps. Well, got anything else before we get started?
I don't think so. Just Lori Vallow is a horrible, horrible human being, and she deserves whatever happens to her.
Did I send you the video of her son being her enchiladas are mid?
I think you showed me the video. I can't remember if you sent it to me, but...
Yeah.
Oh, you might have sent it to me, but yeah.
And
I saw the video.
Yeah, he was like, she's made 3 things ever in my whole life, and her enchiladas are nothing to write home about.
Yeah. He was like, we make better enchiladas.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. Okay. Well, have you ever heard the name Roland Doe before?
I don't think so.
Have you ever heard
sound familiar.
The name Robbie Manheim?
That doesn't sound familiar either.
All right. Well, they are the same person.
Okay.
And this is the story of this person's exorcism.
Okay.
So, both of those aliases, Roland Doe and Robbie Manheim, have been used in the documentation of this case.
Okay.
And this is also the case that inspired William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist.
I don't know if I've heard this case before. Like, I know that I heard a case about a guy being exorcised, but I don't remember if it was this one.
Okay. Well, this one, the priests who perform the exorcism, because there's multiple of them, kept some pretty detailed journals, I guess.
Yeah.
And William Peter Blatty had access to them, and that's how he wrote The Exorcist. So not a little girl spitting pea soup.
Right.
So, all right. So, Roland, or Robbie, was born June 1st, 1935 in Cottage City, Maryland. He was an only child. He was very close to his Aunt Harriet. I saw one source that called her Aunt Tilly. I don't know if Tilly is a nickname for Harriet or just her nickname, or everything else called her Harriet. I don't know. So, she was a self-proclaimed spiritualist. She taught Roland how to use the Ouija board, which he became proficient at and was able to contact spirits on his own.
That's safe.
Very. When Roland was 13, Aunt Harriet died. And Roland tried to contact her via the Ouija board, and it's speculated that this opened him up to an evil spirit because the same month, paranormal activity began around Roland. So it started small, like scratching, tapping, dripping sounds coming from floorboards, walls.
All the things you want to hear.
Mm-hmm. But also things that could just be attributed to, like, a mouse in the wall, or a leaky pipe, or something. Still. Yeah. There was a picture of Jesus hanging on the wall that would kind of, like, bounce against the wall as if something were, like, hitting the wall from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
This activity normally would happen between 7 p.m. and midnight, and it went on for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So after the 2 weeks, then Roland starts hearing what sounds like squeaky shoes at night, which maybe is worse, because squeaky shoes are terrible.
Yeah.
And
plus, I don't know what you would attribute that to.
No. Maybe a mouse squeaking.
Maybe.
I don't know. If I had to, like, really justify it in some way. I don't know. So fruit would lob itself across the room when Roland was in the room. His bed would move around the room while he was trying to go to sleep at night. The kitchen table flipped over. Stuff would fall off of tables. This is just a short list. There were other things.
Fantastic.
And Roland was even being haunted when he was not at home.
Okay.
So once when he was visiting family friends, it was said that the rocking chair he was sitting in started spinning like a top, and his feet were, like, up in the air, and so they were like, he can't be doing this because, like, his feet aren't touching the ground or anything, like his, so.
Usually ghosts and stuff will attach themselves to a place, not necessarily to a person, and follow them around.
But I guess if this is a case of possession, then I don't know. I don't really know how that works. So, another source claimed that at school, his desk, with him in it, started moving around the classroom, bouncing off of other desks. Now, I think that if that were the case, there would be lots of people who would have come forward and been like, this was wild.
Well, I was going to say, Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but it's like 1940 something at this point, so I don't know. I don't think people are just carrying around cameras at this point.
If it happened more than once, then, you think that they would want to document it somehow.
Well, I think that this instance happened once.
Okay.
But a person who happened to be in the classroom when Roland had his paranormal experience in the classroom said that the desk did not bounce around. But what actually did happen was that his desk started shaking and vibrating really fast. Mm-hmm. And that the teacher was like, knock it off. And Roland's just like sitting there like, I'm not doing this. And he was taken out of the class and he never came back.
Okay.
So the family was Lutheran. And so his parents reached out to their church, and Reverend Luther Schultz came to speak with them. And I'd just also like to point out that he's a Lutheran minister named Luther.
Yes, I was just thinking that myself.
Mm-hmm. You think he was a sexy man of God?
And he knows it.
Perhaps.
Luther the Lutheran.
Yes. So he also happened to be interested in parapsychology. And so he was like, all right, I'll talk to this kid. So he requested that Roland spend the night of February 17th, 1949 at his house for observation. And during the night, Reverend Schultz witnessed furniture moving and objects flying around. The bed that Roland was sleeping in vibrated and moved around. You could hear scratching sounds in the walls. And basically, after this, Reverend Schultz was like, this is above my pay grade. You probably should call the Catholics.
Right.
So, I was under the...
This isn't really a Lutheran problem.
No. Okay. Granted, my only frame of reference is Raising Helen.
Yes.
They seem pretty chill.
Right.
Also, the sign at the Lutheran church in Roswell tends to, like,
be a little punny.
And, like, chill. And, like, we believe in science and stuff, so...
And, like, we like everybody.
Yeah. So, they seem pretty chill.
Yeah. Not a Lutheran problem.
Yeah, they don't seem like exorcising people.
No.
Exorcising. They might be exercising people.
They might like to exercise.
I mean, they played hockey in Raising Helen.
Yes.
So. Okay. So anyway, so I was under the impression that not any, like, just any Catholic priest could perform an exorcism. Like, I thought that it had to be, like, somebody that was specially trained. Right. But one thing that I read said any ordained priest with permission from the local bishop can perform an exorcism. But I guess there's, like, specialized training that priests can go through to be better equipped to be exorcists.
Okay.
But that you don't necessarily have to do that to perform the rites of exorcism. Rites? Ritual? Is rites and ritual the same thing?
I think so.
Okay, anyway. So enter Father Edward Hughes. He is from St. James Church in Mount Rainier, Maryland. And this wasn't just, like, one exorcism and this kid was healed.
Right.
He had several exorcisms performed on him. Father Hughes was apparently a young priest who wasn't trained in exorcisms. And so his first course of action was to give the family some holy water and blessed candles. And that seems to have turned into, like, an unmitigated disaster. They put the holy water on Roland's bedside table, and it smashed into a zillion pieces.
Cool.
The candles flamed up so high that they scorched the ceiling. And so Father Hughes was like, maybe exorcism now?
Because these are natural things that happen.
Perhaps. I was just thinking, like, how big were these candles? Like, if it's, like, on a bedside table, like, that had to have been a big flame.
Well, it sounds like it was a big flame.
But, like, if you think of just, like, I was thinking just, like, I don't know, like, one of those, like, Virgin Mary candles or something.
Yeah.
Those have the little tiny flames.
Yeah, but this is demonic.
That's true. Okay. So, Father Hughes performed the first exorcism on Roland at Georgetown University Hospital, where I think, if I was reading all of these, because I was, like, bouncing between sources, I think that he had been, that Roland had been admitted for psychiatric care.
Okay.
And so, there were kind of differing things on this part. So one thing said that Father Hughes had been given permission by Archbishop O'Doyle, or my thing says O'Boyle. That doesn't sound right. And then another source claimed that the exorcism was unsuccessful because he probably didn't get permission to perform it and performed like an informal exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? But whichever...
He went rogue.
Right, yeah. He was just like, exorcise these demons.
Like, I don't have time for permission.
What's the... May the power of Christ compel you? Yeah. What is that from?
I don't know what it's originally from.
I know, but, like, I'm thinking of, like, a movie or a TV show where, like, somebody's, like, yelling it, like, at least once, if not multiple times.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time pinpointing it as well.
It's gonna come to us later.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, whichever way it was done, according to a report, Roland spoke to the priest in, like, fluent Latin, which Roland would not know.
Right.
And said, I'm going to give you the translated version because I don't know how to say the other words. O priest of Christ, you know that I am the devil. Why do you keep bothering me? Just like, dude, bug off.
Yeah.
So, during the exorcism, the bed reportedly slid across the room and slammed into the opposite wall. Scratches appeared on Roland's body. He was in full restraint, so he shouldn't have been able to scratch himself. Are you looking up the thing?
I'm trying, but I'm not being successful.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just showing me The Exorcist.
Maybe that's what it's from.
I know, but I thought there was, like, something funny that happens in.
I know, me too. I don't know. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, Roland's in full restraints. Scratches are showing up on his body. So at some point during this exorcism ritual,
yes,
he gets one of his hands free, reaches under the mattress, breaks a piece of the mattress spring off, and slashes the priest's arm from shoulder to wrist.
Great.
Yeah. So the priest had to stop the exorcism and had to get 140 stitches and was said to never have full use of his arm after this.
Okay.
So that's good. I guess it was a good thing they were in the hospital.
I guess so. Easy,
access to stitches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So after this, the family decides to go to St. Louis, Missouri to stay with family there. I kind of think that maybe that's where the mom was from originally. And the demon, I guess, liked this because the word Louis was found scratched into Roland's skin. And in an article from The Guardian, there was a report that the word Saturday was scratched into Roland's skin when the family was contemplating when to leave.
Okay.
And when pondering how long to stay, 3.5 weeks was scratched into his chest.
Seems kind of random.
Agreed. Like, I don't know how much of that is true.
Yeah.
Because that seems like a lot. I mean, if it's true, that's wild. Okay.
Okay, so we figured it out. It's Austin Powers that was happening. We needed to solve this.
And it was so funny because earlier while we were talking about it, I was sitting here thinking, like, it's not Wayne's World.
Exactly,
but
that's what I was thinking,
that
too.
It was Mike Myers.
I kept thinking Mike Myers and Wayne's World, but I was like, I don't think that happens in Wayne's World. But it's Mike Myers as Dr. Evil in Austin Powers.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, back to the actual story.
Okay, so anyway, all of these random words are showing up, like very specific to their situation words are showing up on Roland's skin. So apparently the family did not learn their lesson because after they arrive in St. Louis, they pull out the Ouija board to try to get in touch with Auntie Harriet to see if she could help them. And so they ended up having to call the Catholics again.
I mean, they're dealing with possession, so let's touch the demonic board.
Yeah. that just didn't seem like a very good... It's not like two negatives make a positive.
No.
So, again, reports here differ. So, it might be that Roland was put into the hospital for either physical or psychiatric care, because there was one thing that said that, like, they talked to a Lutheran minister and then a pediatrician and then a psychiatrist, and, like, they went through all of these things. And there were some things that said he was in the hospital. Maybe he wasn't in the hospital at all, because I don't know.
Okay.
This was the 40s. So, where the stories all seem to align, though, is that Roland's cousin Elizabeth went to St. Louis University, which was a private Jesuit. Did I say that word right?
I think so.
I said it 1,000. It's one of those words that you say too many times and it loses meaning.
All meaning.
And so earlier I was like saying it a lot in my head, and I guess I've lost it. So, Jesuit University. It just feels weird in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So, they are Catholic. I looked that up because I was like, why would they call these people? But they're Catholics.
Okay.
So, Elizabeth contacted one of her...
I've never really known what a Jesuit was.
Me either.
So like, one of those words that you've heard, but
right.
I never really knew what it meant.
You know the word, but you don't really understand it. Yeah, so apparently they are part of the Roman Catholic Church.
Okay.
So Elizabeth contacts one of her professors, a Father Raymond Bishop, who, according to a Medium article, was, quote, a very logical, scientific, yet spiritually sensitive man.
Raymond Bishop, the bishop?
So, no. In fact, there was an article that specifically said he is not Bishop.
Lame.
I know.
Because we had Luther the Lutheran, so I was hoping we had Bishop the bishop.
No, he is not. But he is logical and scientific, yet spiritually sensitive. After visiting Roland and witnessing the boy screaming and seeing scratches appearing on his body, he coordinated with Father William Bodern, a pastor at the university, as well as Walter Holleran, a seminary student, and Father William Van Tu.
Okay.
They put Roland on a strict 30-day exorcism regimen. Mm-hmm. The first exorcism took...
An exercise regimen?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The first one took place on March 16th, 1949. And, like, literally, this kid was, like, exercised every day for, like, 30 days. I mean, you have to get into a habit.
Yes.
It takes, 20-something days to build a habit or something. So after a series of these exorcisms, and they were performed in various places. So they did some of them in that family member's house in Missouri that they were staying in. Some of them were at St. Francis Xavier Parish, which is where Father Bodern, I almost said performed.
Yes.
Practiced. Preached.
Sure.
At St. Louis University and Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis. So after all of these, Roland was given Holy Communion. And the next day, the word exit appeared 3 times on Roland's chest, and he was having severe kidney pain. And they tried the Holy Communion again that night, and the word hell appeared on his chest and on his thigh. But then, on Easter Monday, which was April 18th, 1949, in the Alexian Brothers Hospital, Fathers Bishop and Bodern, with an additional Father O'Flaherty. I hope I said that right. Every time I hear that name, it always reminds me of Professor Benz, because he doesn't know any of the students' names, and he calls Seamus Finnegan O'Flaherty. Mm-hmm. That's what I think every time I hear that name. So anyway, they came to do their nightly exorcism, but this time was different. So Roland would go in and out of his trances, but when he would come out of his trance, he would start reciting the prayers with the priests, and apparently told them that he could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And Father Bodern managed to get a chain of holy medals around Roland's neck and was able to get him to hold a crucifix in his hands. And this caused Roland to calm down, And he was even, like, politely asking them questions about the meanings of the prayers.
Okay.
So he was kind of, like, snapping out of it.
Right.
But then, during the rituals, when the priest demanded to know the name of the demon who was possessing Roland, Roland would start throwing a fit, but I guess admitted to them that he was one of the fallen angels. Around 11 p.m., Roland started speaking in a new voice and said the following: "Satan, Satan, I am Saint Michael. I command you, Satan, and the other evil spirits to leave this body in the name of Dominus immediately. Now, now, now." So Roland, like, spasmed once more and then said the words, "He is gone."
So now he's possessed by a saint,
I guess. Or the saint. So he later tells Father Bodern that he had a vision of Saint Michael. I'm wondering if he looked like John Travolta, holding a flaming sword. So, from what I could gather, it's like Saint Michael came to him to drive the spirits out of his body. So I guess in a way possessed him.
Yeah.
But he didn't hang around.
No. He just sort of stopped in.
Yeah.
For a chat.
Yes. 12 days later, the family moved back to Maryland and converted to Catholicism.
You wanna keep those guys close.
Absolutely. Roland, or Robbie, I think I called him Roland all through the story, but other people call him Robbie. His real identity was discovered later in life. His real name was Ronald Hunkler, and he appeared to live the rest of his life normally. He graduated high school in 1954, and he went to work as an engineer for NASA. He even contributed to the Apollo space missions in the 1960s and patented technology that helped space shuttle panels withstand extreme heat.
So he got off the mad honey.
Yes. No more mad honey for Ronald.
Ronald.
I was like, what is his actual name?
Wait. Ronald Robbie Roland.
Yeah. The only other thing I have here is that after his death in 2020, and he was like a month shy of his 85th birthday, one of his companions, it was like I think they said like a 30-year-old woman or something, spoke to the New York Post about Ronald, saying that he always worried that his colleagues at NASA would find out about his possession and that he was the inspiration for The Exorcist. And he refused to stay home on Halloween. He always spent that day somewhere else because he was worried that someone would find out where he lived and would bother him.
Spent that day at church.
Perhaps.
But yeah, I'm sure that it probably would be kind of dicey for NASA to find out that you were possessed by a demon.
That's true. But
probably...
like a flex that a whole movie was made about you.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, it would be cool to be able to tell people that, but at the same time, one, he went through something horrific.
That's true.
And two, like I said, like, working at NASA, they probably would have been concerned about his mental health.
That's absolutely true, because you don't want crazy people working around.
Right.
Space stuff.
Yeah.
There's enough of those.
Yes.
So, that is that.
That is that.
So you hadn't heard that one?
Like I said, I may have.
Yeah.
But if I did, I didn't remember it well enough to remember, like, the details.
If you've heard one exorcism story, you've heard them all.
Right.
Just kidding. Well, what else? Nothing else.
Nothing else. Nothing else ever. Maybe our lives will get more exciting and then we'll have something to tell these people.
That's right. Oh, I got a new car.
Yes. You got a brand spanking new car after all of the car trouble.
A brand spanking new one. She's alright.
Are you still having a hard time figuring out the remote start?
No.
Because, like, didn't the child want to go see if it was on earlier, but when I went outside it wasn't on?
So I think what I figured out about that, so this car is like a Jetsons car to me because I'm an old lady. It has remote start on the keychain, which I was going to tell you, I did figure that out. It's because you have to press the lock button and then hold the remote start thing down.
Yeah, I heard you telling that to the child.
And so that started working, so that was fine. But then you can also remote start it from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, remember yesterday when the car was... when the time on the car was wrong?
Yeah.
And so I think that was what was the matter, was because I had it scheduled for like 7 to 7:10 or something, because it'll only run for 10 minutes at a time. Mm-hmm. That it probably came on from 6 to 6:10 because the time on the car was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think that's fixed.
Okay.
I guess we'll see. But that'll come in handy whenever it gets to be 150,000 degrees outside and I need to turn the air conditioner on.
My car doesn't do anything fancy.
No.
So I just get to boil.
You know, you are absolutely incorrect, because your car has a ghost that lives in it.
It does. I haven't heard from the ghost in a while.
I feel like you heard from the ghost recently.
Not very recently, though.
Because you had sent me that message where you had said something like, I'm waiting in line, or this line is really long, but, like, your car said something else that was completely different.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that ghost. It just says whatever it wants.
Didn't one time it say help?
Yes. Like, I said an entire sentence, and Siri repeated back, help.
Maybe Siri's being possessed, and she's asking you for help.
Maybe. He likes to talk about, like, home a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's some little ghosty that's trying to find their way home.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll start messing with your navigation so
right.
that when it drives you home.
When it says home on my navigation, it's not my home.
It's the ghosty's home.
But yeah, like, no, it's not even like I say something and Siri mishears me and says something that you could misconstrue as what I said.
Yeah, I know.
It's completely random stuff.
Yeah, I know, because I was trying to remember what the last one was that you sent me, because it was so weird. I can't remember, though. I probably can't find it.
If you type in ghost,
the ghost is nuts. Oh, I found it. Okay. So, Faren sent me a message that says, I walked a beach. And then her next text says, the ghost is nuts. And then her next text says, what I said was, this line hasn't even moved since I've been in it. And so it's like things like that where, like, how...
It's not even close.
Not even close.
It's not even like it's a word that sounds like another word that I said, or even like the same length of sentence. It'll just be the most random stuff, and it really creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and because Bear sent me a message in February that said, Sissy's car ghost literally just said help when trying to say a big, long message.
Yeah. Like, I'll say a big, long sentence, and it'll repeat back, help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my car is...
Oh my god, I found another one.
Oh, good.
So, the message from Faren to me reads, subconscious code for food from Sarah and Laura.
Yes.
And she said, my ghost is back. And then she said, I'm going to read this, and if we have to cut it out afterwards, we can. This is what I actually said was, I called the psychiatrist's office, and the nurse said that Michael has to sign something in order for them to fill the Ritalin, but they don't know why they have not filled my Lexapro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one's fun.
Yeah.
Unconscious, what did it say?
Subconscious
food
for food from Sarah and Laura.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It's so bizarre, but it's fun.
Yeah. But no, ever since the one about the line not moving, I haven't had any paranormal activity in the car.
Yeah. The first time I tried to send it, the ghost just said hi.
Yeah.
The car ghost also cursed me in the message right before that. I sent Mom a text message about the highway being open. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, your car ghost is fun.
Yeah.
So, I guess...
It keeps things spicy.
It does.
If nothing else.
See, my car is brand new, so nobody's died in it.
Nobody's died in it yet, but apparently in the last, 6 years that my car has existed.
Mm-hmm. Your car was built on an ancient burial ground.
I guess. Yeah. Whatever Kia manufacturing company factory thingy that one came from was built on some sort of burial ground.
Yeah.
And now my car is possessed.
It's fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, are we done?
I think so.
I feel... Oh, I have to donate blood. I don't have to. I'm going to donate blood tomorrow.
We're going to force you to donate blood tomorrow.
A little bit. My punk of a teacher aide was like, donate blood with me when the blood donation thing happens. Sign up at the same time as me. And so I did. And then today she was like, oh, I have to cancel because my mom and dad told me no. And I was like, what kind of a teenager are you that you listen to what your parents say?
Loser.
I know. Gosh. She is the least rebellious child. Right. All right. Well, remember that you can find us on social media at Twisted and Mysterious, or you can email us at twistedandmysterious at... Nope. Twisted and Mysterious podcast at gmail.com. That was a stupid idea that I did. I don't know what I was thinking that day.
Who knows?
I probably wasn't thinking.
Was the other one taken?
No.
No? You just decided to make it long?
Just threw that podcast word in there.
All right.
Because it's a podcast.
It is a podcast.
So.
At least it's trying to be a podcast.
It's attempting it. It's doing its best job.
Yes.
We still haven't got anybody in South America.
You guys, we really need your help.
Find somebody in South America. Get on the internet.
Whatever people get on the internet these
Find
days.
somebody on MySpace, it's totally fine.
On Yahoo Chat.
Get on AIM. Just make sure you leave a really fun away message.
ICQ.
ICQ. Uh-oh. I used to have that as, a text tone, and you can't do it anymore. At least, I could probably, I don't know.
You could probably find it on the internet and somehow make a text tone out of it.
You used to be able to just, make ringtones, and I don't think you can do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how
unless you're,
to do that anymore.
A smart guy.
And we are not smart guys.
I'm a smart guy. Okay, well, I think that is all, and I'm done.
Okay. So that's it for this week, and we'll see what happens next week. And remember that people are gross, and don't get murdered, and don't play with Ouija boards.
Especially
if you're already possessed.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.